Hello, my name is Nick Villanacci, and I'm here today to talk about a topic that we may all not be aware of, something we may not truly understand, and that pertains to the servicemen and women of this country, our soldiers and troops. And I'd like to talk more about the challenges they face on the home front, challenges away from the war zone. Now, we all understand they're deployed long periods of time. They fight the bad guys in faraway lands, typically the Middle East. Currently, that's where we are. So we all understand they're away for a long time. Bad things happen over there. They see things that we don't see. We understand that, but do we understand what's truly going on when they arrive home? Do we understand what they deal with? In that they deal with a generally low pay for everything they do. They have a generally low pay. That they deal with PTSD. They deal with a heightened suicide rate, depression. In some cases, our veterans are dealing with homelessness. Yes, our veterans are dealing with homelessness. Now, these are all things we might not be aware of. We might not truly understand it. But my goal today is to inform us of that, so we have a good idea of going forward of what we could potentially do to help, but also gain more of an appreciation on what these men and women do for us. So the first thing I'd like to bring up here is the generally low pay that our soldiers and troops have. The generally starting pay, depending on the branch of military, depending on the starting rank, is anywhere between $1,700 and $2,000 a month. That's a month. Now, this pay includes benefits. It includes health insurance. It includes lower interest rates on loans, and that can be provided to them through USAA, Navy Federal Credit Union. And based on the pay scale that I found on military.com, I found these numbers. That's $20,000 to $24,000 a year. These troops, soldiers, that's the money they're earning. $20,000 to $24,000 a year. The average medium income household, $51,000 in the U.S. $51,000. They're coming up roughly $30,000 short of that $51,000 mark. Granted, everything that they do, everything they experience, everything they deal with, we would think that number would be a little bit higher, at least above the poverty line, the technical poverty line. Now, the average income for a soldier, given the rank, years of service, branch of the military, anywhere between $35,000 and $55,000. Kind of a large group there, $20,000 gap, but that's based on your rank, how many years you've served. But that's a general average, and we can see that number being a little bit closer to the average income, a little bit above it. Now, soldiers, troops, our leaders can earn certainly much more than that, depending on years of service, depending on how long they've been serving our country, and rightfully so. But that's the pay that they deal with. It's generally a lower end pay when considered against other jobs, other Americans in this country. Now, we understand they're deployed, they go off for a long time, faraway lands. I found these numbers from Rand Corp. They're a statistical institute that provides analysis and data to the U.S. government and the higher ups to make better decisions and policy regarding our military. They found they came up with a stat called troop years, total time troops spend overseas deployment. Troop year can be defined as one soldier serving 1 year. Two troop years, for instance, could be two individuals serving a year, which would make two troop years, or one individual serving 2 years, two deployments equaling a year. That could equal two troop years, but I think we get the general idea of what a troop year is. They found this between September 2001, 9/11 attacks, and December 2011, roughly a little bit over a 10-year span, the Army had a little bit over 1 million troop years spent in Iraq and Afghanistan. Technical number is 1,080,000. 1.08 million. That's how many troop years are spent in Iraq and Afghanistan. Over a million. The Navy, Air Force, Marines, all coming in a little bit over 300,000. But we think about it, a little bit over. They say the total number that was spent in Iraq and Afghanistan to this date totals a little bit over 1.8 million troop years. 1.8 million years. 1.8. Now deployment can be anywhere between 10, 12, 14 months. That's a long time to be away. Sometimes even more, depending on the circumstances. Now, when those soldiers come home, and we pray they all come home safely, when they come home, sometimes they bring a little bit of that war with them. Now, we all like to think that when soldiers come home, it's that great, tearful homecoming. All the videos we've seen on YouTube, all the videos we see of the surprise homecoming, soldier comes home, meets his son for the first time. We like to think of that. And that's what we like to see and hear. But there's a dark side of this. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. This is a disorder in which soldiers, technically anyone, but as it pertains to soldiers, they experience a traumatic event overseas. This could be through a gunfight, through an explosion, an attack, an accident, something they experience that sets off it's a traumatic event in their life. And this can lead to depression. The signs of PTSD: reliving the event, not being able to sleep, having nightmares of the event, not being able to function normally because they keep reflecting on this event. They could try to avoid things in their everyday life. Or they could avoid people, events, places because it might remind them of this event. And we also see PTSD causes negative thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. This could happen to the most positive person. Even a positive person can experience PTSD and then become negative. This is the type of mental illness our soldiers deal with when they come home. PTSD can lead to depression. Depression is a sign linked to PTSD. Depression associated with suicide. Suicide rate for a U.S. soldier these days, a recent statistic posted in USA Today tells us that 30 per 100,000 soldiers will commit suicide in the next year. 30 per 100,000. It's 30. 30 soldiers, 30 people that served our country will commit suicide from PTSD or linked depression or other mental illnesses associated with service. 30. The national average for suicide is 19 per 100,000. 19. It's 11 people more on the soldier rate. 30 to 19. It's above the national average. It has been since 2008. And that average for the soldier suicide rate is still rising. That's unfortunate. It's sad. That's those soldiers, that's what they have to deal with when they come home. It's not always the happy homecoming we like to envision. Now, another issue we see with our veterans is homelessness. These are coming from the National Coalition of Homelessness, these numbers. It is stated that between 130 and 200,000 soldiers on any given night, 130 to 200,000 veterans, are homeless on any given night. Up to 200,000. Now, 1 in 3 men that are homeless served in the military. 89% of our homeless veterans, 89%, received an honorable discharge upon leaving the military. Honorable discharge. That means they did their job, they did everything they were supposed to, they did everything right. But now they're homeless with an honorable discharge. 89%. Now, that brings me to the next point. 67% of our homeless veterans, 67, 2 of every 3, served 3 or more years in the military. 3 or more years. They took 3 or more years from their life to serve this great country, and now they're homeless. 67%. 67% of all homeless veterans served 3 or more years. It's a big number. Now, there are current VA programs, VA standing for Veteran Affairs, current VA programs that offer rehabilitation. They offer beds for the night. They offer to provide skills and jobs to these homeless veterans. There are programs in place. Those programs are steeply underfunded. On any given night, these VA programs can offer 8 to 10,000 beds for homeless veterans. 8 to 10,000. Let me remind you again. On any given night, we could have 130 to 200,000 homeless veterans on the streets. 130 to 200,000 are the most recent estimates. And we're only providing 8 to 10,000 beds on any given night through these veteran programs. So I hope we all now can understand what these soldiers and what these troops and what our men and women that serve this country deal with, not only in a war zone, not only off in Iraq, off in Afghanistan. Not only do they go through over there, but what they deal with at home. And what they have to deal with when they come home. And that what should be a good time, what should be a positive transition, what can truly happen in the mind of a soldier or a troop. Then I have to deal with the low pay. The low pay of they do 10 times more daily than I do. They have to, but they still have they're still underpaid, a low salary, low wages, technically. They have to deal with the long-term deployments, long times away from home. That's away from their family, their friends, loved ones, away from the jobs, away from safety. And when they come home, they might be bringing some of that war back with them. That being in the form of PTSD, depression, possible suicidal thoughts, even bipolar disorder, various mental illnesses they can bring home. And also, our veterans also deal with homelessness. In this great country, veterans should not have to deal with homelessness. But up to 130,000, 200,000, 130,000, 200,000 veterans in any given night deal with homelessness. So I hope we all are now informed on these numbers. We're now informed of not only what soldiers and troops deal with abroad, what they deal with overseas, but what they deal with on the home front. It's not always happy when they come home, but now I hope we can understand that. Hopefully we can do something about that, especially with Veterans Day being tomorrow, Tuesday, November 11th. Please go out and thank the soldiers and troops for everything they do, because they put up with a lot more than what we all truly realize. Thank you, everybody. My name is Nick Fibonacci. Y'all have a great day. God bless America. Thank you.